What's up everybody, it's Critical. For years I've gotten emails asking me to tell more stories, so that's what I'm gonna do tonight. Cozy on up, pop a squat down by the fireplace, and listen to my nipples. Ashamedly, this tale isn't that old. It happened last year. After my long-term relationship ended, I had devolved into a socially inept husk. I had completely forgotten how to flirt or talk to females in a romantic way. It was bad. Every time I even tried to talk to a girl, I sounded like a troglodyte ODing on sleeping pills, and God forbid a girl ever made the mistake of starting a conversation with me. They would soon find out that I was fundamentally fluent in aphasia. The shit that was coming out of my mouth was just unintelligible. It was downright disrespectful to humanity how bad I was at flirting. But there's one night in particular that I still lose sleep over when I think back on. One event that to this day, when I'm about to ejaculate, makes my penis tingle in an unpleasant way. It was the very first weekend after my breakup, and I was going to a bar with my friends. I was going out with the intent of just drinking and having a good time and not worrying about anything. But my friend's sister insisted she wingman me that night, and I knew deep down in my soul that it would be a fucking train wreck. The night was darker than usual, the moon tucked away behind the clouds as if trying to cover its eyes and shield itself from the awkwardness that was about to unfold at this poor little bar. As if the moon knew just how shitty this experiment was going to turn out. But anyways, in my friend's sister's defense, she was an outstanding wingman, but the odds were stacked against her because she was trying to wingman a fucking sinking ship of social skills. So she was taking me to meet everyone at the bar. We met a ton of people. She was just dragging me along like I was her suitcase, except this suitcase wasn't filled with clothes or toiletries, it was just filled with awkwardness. And nothing too noteworthy happened. I managed to meet all of these new people without shitting my britches, which was a Herculean task, so that's an accomplishment that I'm very proud of. But then the very last two people we met will forever be etched into my memory. It was two attractive women, just casually drinking at one of the tables by the bar, as the bar was clearing out since it was getting late. The weatherman may have predicted cloudy with moderate humidity, but what he couldn't predict, what no one could have predicted, was the storm of awkwardness that was about to befall the area. My friend approached them the same as she had all the others, and as I trailed behind her, I could feel something deep inside of me pulling me, as if a future version of myself was trying to yank me away from the situation so I wouldn't have this memory. But alas, I disregarded the feeling and continued forward, each step towards their table, a new scar that I bear. We make it to the table. Small talk begins. Names are exchanged. I instantly forget both of their names, but I remember how I introduced myself to them. I extended my hand for a handshake like I'm conducting a fucking business meeting. Oh yes, ladies, I'll need the stock reports on my desk, 8 a.m. sharp. But the worst part of this gesture is when they do oblige my handshake, I kung fu grip them. I grab their hands hard as shit. It's like that scene in The Predator where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers get in the handshaking competition. Oh, they got you pushing too many pencils. Well, I was pushing too much awkwardness right from the get-go. So yeah, suboptimal start, bit of a rocky beginning. Chalk that one up to nerves though, you know, that's excusable. So my friend's sister starts distracting one of the girls. Oh, do you go to UT too? What sorority are you in? This and that. Working under the assumption that I am not a bumbling goober and can handle a one-on-one conversation with the other girl. Rookie mistake. I absolutely could not handle that in any capacity. It was abysmal. I have no doubt. I can say with confidence that it is the worst conversation she had ever been a part of, and probably to this day is still the worst conversation she has ever been a part of. With each sentence that I diarrheaed out, I could feel it getting more and more uncomfortable for the both of us. So, do you like alcohol? I mean, it's a good beverage. Envelope adhesives, how do they keep those damn things together? You know, some strong shit. Oh, some nice shoes. I like shoes. I wear shoes sometimes, too. I don't wear shoes when I sleep, though. I take shoes off when I sleep. I'm not weird. I don't take the shoes. It was fucking miserable. And this continues for about 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know how she resisted the urge to just puke in my face, but she just let me keep going. I'm just over here hooting and hollering about our universe being a simulation or some shit. And then eventually she gets so bored, and I'm confused because I'm having a conversation with myself in my head, and I'm having one with her. So I was just, by the end of it, I didn't know if I was talking to myself or talking to her. It was just a weird situation altogether. But she gets so bored, and she puts the kibosh on it. She says, "Look, I've been having a shit week, and I just want to go home with a guy tonight, okay?" And then she puts her hand on my hand. And then I looked her in the eyes. We locked eyes for a minute. and I said to her, "Well, you're gonna have to hurry up because the bar's clearing out. I wish you the best of luck finding a guy, but if you don't find one, I'll eat your pussy for a little bit if you want." That is verbatim what I said to her in response to that. I could never forget those words. They're burned into my brain. The second those escaped my mouth, I became sober. I was inebriated going into it. I said that, and then I could have flown a fucking plane at that point. I could feel my asshole pucker. My anus was becoming the universe. It was like every cell in my body was being bludgeoned by a cactus. For me, this was proof that whatever higher power or creator exists, they truly don't care about this world. Because if they did, they would have sent a fucking wild ice cream truck to take me out right then and there. And the look on her face, I will never forget it. It was a look of pure shock, confusion, and anger. Every emotion a human is capable of feeling, she felt in that moment. And then she pretended to get a phone call so she had an excuse to leave. That makes her a good person in my book, because what she should have done is say, "Hey, get the fuck away from me, you creepy homunculus," or something to that effect, because that's what I deserved. She was nice enough to actually make it seem like she just had something else to do instead of just telling me to fuck off, which she absolutely had a right to do because she had just put up with my ranting and raving for 20 minutes, and then I basically just rejected her to her face with my last little humdinger there. So to me, that woman is a hero. Now to make matters even worse though, my friend's sister and the girl's friend heard what I said. It's like the music in the bar just cut out and everyone stopped talking right before I uttered those words. But luckily, she never mentioned it because I'm assuming she erased it from her memory immediately after, so that way she would spare her mind the anguish of trying to comprehend what the fuck I was thinking when I said that. But yeah, so that's the story. It was by far the most uncomfortable situation I'd ever been a part of and created. I mean, I did both. I was both the participant and the orchestrator. So it was weird, but yeah, that's the story. That's it. Anime is a word that inspires confusion, fear, and boners. On the surface, it's just another form of entertainment, but what it actually is a weapon. And like all weapons, there's the potential for misuse. This is the story of how I misused anime in my first year of college, and potentially led the entire student body to believe that I was some type of fucking lunatic who was one bad Naruto episode away from crashing his car into the side of the on-campus gym. It all started in high school. I was pretty reclusive, I didn't go out much, but I did watch a lot of anime, and it taught me two very important lessons. The first being, the power of friendship is the strongest force in the universe that not even God himself can compete with. Friendship probably led to the Big Bang creating our fucking universe. The second lesson being, the mysterious guy is always the coolest guy that big-titted girls want to fuck, and smaller-titted girls want to fuck. And I really took that lesson to heart, and I super shouldn't have. Absolutely not. But I did. And what happened is, as I graduated high school, I realized that college was my chance to really reinvent myself and change what people think about me, my perception, because no one knows about me. In high school, everyone knew me because I went to a small school, so I couldn't exactly just kick down the door one day sporting a leather jacket and riding a Harley Davidson and have everyone think I was super cool all of a sudden. They'd probably just think I was possessed by the spirit of a 40-year-old father going through his midlife crisis. But in college, nobody knew me, so I could be anything I wanted to be. And man, I wanted to be the anime mysterious guy. And holy shit did it lead to a very embarrassing and lonely first year of my college. So my college anime opened up with an incredible season opener, just a beautiful introduction. On move-in day, the literal first time setting foot in college soil, being an adult, a full-grown, full-hairy, penised adult on a college campus. On move-in day, I had my dad helping me. And going to my dorm, moving in the elevator, there was a girl and her father who were moving in. They're on the same floor, and my dad was talking to her dad and her a little bit. I didn't say a word. I was too cool to say a word. My dad tried to throw me into the conversation. So he asked me a real softball question that even a toddler could fumble his way through. I don't remember exactly what he asked me, but it was something like, "Oh, are you excited to move into this dorm, Charlie?" And I'll never forget my response because I remember this verbatim. I said, "You know I can't talk about that, Dad." I don't know why I said that. I guess in my head I thought that she would think that was super fucking dope, like I was some type of super secret agent that can't talk about his opinions. But really it just came across like, wow, this is a guy that I should be afraid of. But at the time, it didn't register with me like that was a weird thing to say. I went through the rest of that day being really proud of that, like, damn, fucking nailed it in the elevator. College is gonna be great. I just expected, like, if we saw each other in the hallway, she'd just be overcome with ecstasy and just charge me like, Charlie's son, and then give me a smooch on my smoochers. But in reality, as you can imagine, that never happened. And that was really just setting the tone for the rest of that entire year for me. I wanted to, and luckily Kaya talked me out of it, I wanted to put an Xbox disc of Psychonauts around a chain on my neck, so that way people would know that I like Psychonauts. It's not exactly mysterious because I'm kind of beating you on the urethra with, I like this, I'm clearly wearing it. But I was like, this is so different. This is totally what an anime guy would do, like the mysterious guy. Another thing that I wanted to do, and Kaya again talked me out of it, he really saved me from having an even more catastrophic freshman year of college, is I wanted to carry around a deck of cards and do magic tricks at house parties or just around campus to really make people be like, damn, that was cool. I need that guy's number. Who was that guy? That guy's super cool. Let's invite the magic deck guy back, the magic card trick guy. That super awesome and fun guy. I didn't end up doing that, but I did used to do some magic tricks at house parties, which is still embarrassing, but the cards were already there. I didn't bring them or like come up to people, hey, you want to see a fucking magic trick? They were at least there. It made sense at the time. But bringing them around like a mysterious guy, keeping them in like a Ziploc bag, there was no coming back from that. If I went down that destructive path, I'd probably be behind bars right now just from scaring the general populace. Like, what is this guy up to with this deck of cards? This is a maniac. Get him off the streets, this menace. But now let's talk about the things that the social savior Kaya wasn't able to prevent me from doing. One of the biggest ones that I can remember is I used to go to clubs because I obviously wasn't really getting invited to house parties. Because who's going to want to invite the guy who doesn't talk because he thinks it's cool not to? Like, I would blatantly just avoid answering questions in class. If I got called on, I'd just blow it off like, oh, yeah. I wouldn't even give like a yes or a no. I wouldn't be like no, I don't know the answer. I wouldn't even give the answer. I'd just be like, oh, yeah. Just like fucking mumble it out like I was fucking overdosing on Xanax. So obviously no one was going to come out of their way to invite me to a house party. No one got to know me my freshman year. So I would go to clubs by myself. And one time, it was New Year's, and I had these light up New Year's glasses. And they were some pretty fucking cool glasses, not going to lie. And I was wearing them around my neck because they were so bright I couldn't really see. I was basically just flashbanging myself when I was wearing them normally with the lights going on and shit. So I had them around my neck. And this girl came up to me and started talking to me about them. And instead of like answering any of your questions, I was playing it the same way I did everything else. I just didn't say a word. She said something about my glasses, but she fucked up and called them a necklace. She said something like, I like your necklace. That's a cool necklace. They're glasses. How dare you fuck that up? But anyway, I just disregarded it and I stared at her blankly. Like a fucking robot whose programming just malfunctioned, or I just fell asleep standing up. But she kept trying to get me to talk to her, get me to open up. That goddamn hero, that trooper, she just kept really trying to pry me open, but it just wasn't happening. Getting me to talk and not be mysterious in my freshman year of college would be like trying to open up a dumpster and not have a wave of shit hit your nostrils. But she kept trying. She pulled out her shirt saying, do you like my shirt? And it said something like, short girls know how to have fun or something like that, or something to that extent. And I glanced at it and then I immediately went back to staring at her without commenting on the shirt or even saying a word. I didn't make a noise. I didn't even make like a caveman grunt, like a Tim Allen. I didn't do anything. I didn't make a single audible noise. So I was basically just a fucking statue there. She tried again. She said something else about my necklace, and this time it must have just struck a chord because I remember I pulled them off of my neck slowly and I put them on my eyes, and then I flicked them on the next setting, which was like this intense, glowing, like strobe light shit, like some blinding, banging strobe light shit. And then she walked away. I still didn't say anything because I just put them on my eyes and then turned that setting on and kept staring at her. So I don't blame her for walking away. And that was really when it hit me like, maybe being the mysterious weirdo isn't going to pay off. But I still committed to it. I still kept going past that. That was New Year's, and we still had another 5 or so months of me being an odd, weird, anime-inspired, mysterious loser. There's really no other big events that really stick out to me. Just a bunch of small stuff that I kept doing throughout the entirety of my freshman year. Like if it was raining and everyone was like, oh fuck, it's raining and I forgot my umbrella, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'd walk right by them, just kind of like wiggle my way through them, and then I'd just walk out in the rain like I didn't give a shit, like I didn't even know it was raining. Like I'd pull out my phone, much to the detriment of my phone, just be like, oh, rain? Too mysterious to feel rain. I really don't know why I ever thought walking out in the rain looking like some kind of dumb asshole would be cool or mysterious, because it doesn't fit either category. But that was another thing I'd partake in almost every time it rained. The only other big event that I can really think of, one that I still think about and it keeps me up at night and really haunts my boners to this day, is when I took an art therapy course towards the second semester of my freshman year. I don't remember exactly what it was. It wasn't art therapy, but it was something similar. It was just an art class basically where you express yourself. And I thought it would be amazingly mysterious and really get girls' panties super fucking wet, just sodden panties being tossed at me. Is every assignment I tried to make it as dark and bland as possible. So one of the assignments being, what do you think of your friends? You were supposed to do one about 12 friends. You make a drawing to represent each friend. And for mine, I did the same thing for all of them. It was a black box. I don't know why I don't know what at all was my thought process with that, but I just did 12 black boxes to represent all of my friends. And when I was supposed to present it, I gave them each a name, and I did name 12 friends. I'm kind of more acquaintances. I didn't really have any like super close friends or anything, but I did name 12 people that I knew and who also knew of my existence. And that just made me seem like I belonged in an insane asylum looking back on it. But at the time I was like, oh, girls love the troubled artist, the mysterious troubled artist. This is beautiful. There's going to be tears in their eyes. I already know it. I'm going to get an A on this project. Spoiler alert, I didn't get an A because she thought I just blew it off and goofed on it. So I got a D because I at least turned something in. But even still, I drew 12 black boxes. That's some shit that you see in a horror movie, like when the weird kid's scribbling shit on paper in a black crayon, and then you find out that the kid's actually a demon. That's that kind of shit that I presented to the class, and there's no doubt in my mind those students walked away deeply disturbed and afraid of me from that moment on. So, that's how I spent the entire first year of my college experience, emulating the anime mysterious guy. It wasn't until I moved out of my dorm and in with a new group of guys who put the kibosh on that shit and taught me how to be social, because they did not want to be living with some fucking weirdo that's trying to be an anime mysterious guy. So that's kind of that's how my first year of college went. The lesson to take away from this is don't emulate what you see on anime, because it's just not gonna fucking work unless you have some like superpowers that you might, like some really fucking cool superpowers. You might be able to get away with being weirdly mysterious, but I didn't. The only superpower I had was being below average male height. But if you have some cool superpowered shit, maybe you can emulate anime to some extent and still be cool, but I couldn't. But I wouldn't recommend it to most people, the non-superpowered people out there. To the people that aren't X-Men, don't try and be an anime mysterious guy. Don't be weird. That's it. Occasionally during my live stream, people bring up Miami because I'm in Florida and everyone knows Miami, so they always want to know, have I been there? Do I like Miami? And I made it very clear that I have a very palpable disdain for that city, if you can even call it a city. I call it a scam. I almost just don't even believe in Miami. It's kind of like the fucking Tooth Fairy to me. If the Tooth Fairy was a huge asshole whose only purpose was to bite your nipples off while you were asleep, I really do hate Miami. So let's get really into the meat and semen of why I hate Miami. I've only been one time. It was my junior year of college, and my friends and I went for spring break. We were going to celebrate it there, just go fucking wild. Yeah, Miami Beach party. Oh, tits all over the place. Look at all that ass, and look at all these beers and alcohols. And that was the plan. But we severely underestimated just how expensive everything in Miami is. We knew it was going to be a bit pricier, but not even Jesus Christ himself could have convinced us it'd be as expensive as it turned out to be. There was only one thing in all of Miami we could afford, and that was the hotel, because we all pooled our money together to be able to afford that. Past that, we were left to die. The people in Miami wouldn't piss in your mouth if you were dying of thirst unless you had $1,000 to pay them for it. The prices there are out fucking rageous. We couldn't be left alone. We couldn't buy anything alone. We had to stay in a group and start budgeting our money. Hey man, look, I just ran out of soap and I need to get some at Walgreens. Can you spot me $50 so I can at least get halfway there, and I'll cover the other 50? Because you can't afford anything. We couldn't buy a pack of almonds on our own without coming together as a group and budgeting that purchase. It's fucking insane how expensive everything there is. Let's go ahead and start from day one, because it hit us immediately when we got there. We planned the trip for 4 days. We stayed all 4 days, but on the first day, we knew we were in for a rude awakening. So day one, we were already, ready to rock and roll, ready for partying. Hey, it's spring break. It's time to go nuts to butts. Let's fucking hit it and shit it. So we got a taxi, which was extremely expensive, got stuck in Miami traffic for an hour, and then made it to this area where all the bars are. I can't even remember what it's called, but there's a bar there that's like the Frankliner, or maybe like the Frankie Doolittle or something. I don't remember, but it's a big bar there, and we paid $20 to get in, which is huge for us because in Tampa, it's free entry if you're over 21. So paying $20 just to get in, that was a real slap to the urethra, but we did it anyway because spring break, baby. Woo! You know, shirt over your head and everything, about ready to go wild. And we made the mistake of ordering shots right upon getting there. Shots of Fireball, because in Tampa, a shot of Fireball is $3. And I'll never forget what it is in Miami at the Frankie Muniz Hotel or whatever. $18. $18 for a shot of Fireball. Fireball is the shittiest alcohol you can get in a shot. And it was $18 there. It was insulting. So after taking that shot, needless to say, it was basically like swallowing all of our money at the same time. We were already running out of money just from our first bar visit and first round of drinks. If I wanted to take that shot glass and dunk it into their pool, I'd probably have to pay $10 for their chlorinated pool water with pee all in it. It's unreal, the prices there. But it wasn't all lost upon going to that bar because there was a homeless man, probably not actually homeless, but he dressed like a homeless man, and he was doing magic tricks, and we got a little private magic show from him. And it was all hat magic, so he'd like be doing cool shit with his hat. And his grand finale was he pulled out a baggie of cocaine from his hat. It was really fucking cool, and we all gave him like $5 because he fucking earned it like a motherfucker. That man should be going on Penn and Teller's Fool Us, or maybe America's Got Talent. It was a great routine, and he's even got a little something to get the crowd energized. You know, just start throwing coke out. I could see him being a big magician someday. Hopefully he's doing well. We called it a night right after that because it certainly wasn't getting better than that magic show, and it certainly wasn't getting cheaper. So we went back to the hotel and we started just drinking all of the alcohol we brought. That was a lot of fun. Just 5 guys in the hotel room getting absolutely shit-faced because they couldn't afford to elsewhere. And I got extremely drunk, probably the drunkest I've ever been. And I blacked out, and then the next day, we all planned to go to the beach, but I was so incredibly fucked up that I needed to keep having the taxi driver pull over so I could puke. We finally got to the beach, and I still had to keep puking, but apparently all of the areas on the beach don't really have bathrooms. Miami doesn't believe in bathrooms, so I went to a Walgreens. They don't have a bathroom. I went to the next door business that I don't remember. They didn't have a bathroom. I went to the other business next door, which was probably like a cocaine supplier. I don't really know what it was, but it was a dilapidated little business. They didn't have a bathroom, so I ended up just puking on the road. I just figured, why not? I had nowhere else to go, and I'm sure it's pretty commonplace in Miami. I'm sure I'm about the 5th guy that morning to puke on that road. And I was feeling like shit for the rest of the entire day. The beach was underwhelming. It was just like every other beach in Florida. There was nothing super special about it except for some trivia, like Dexter Season 2 was filmed, or the Dexter intro was filmed on that beach. Like, who gives a fuck? It was so boring. At least right up until a Category 5 hurricane hit Miami that day. It wasn't an actual hurricane, but there was a goddamn monsoon that blew through and completely annihilated us. Apparently there was like a fucking news warning that went out, like, this is going to be the biggest storm we've had in 10 years. And we weren't listening to the news or anything, so we just went to the beach. There wasn't a whole lot of people there, but I can see why now. And it was just this incredibly disastrous storm that hit, with intense wind that was nearly knocking me over and my friends, and this hardest rain ever. It was like we were getting hit by baseballs. It was so miserable. Walked away bruised and bloody, but undeterred. Our spirits were still as high as they could be, you know, because come that night, we were ready to try again. Bars were out of the question because we couldn't afford the drinks, so we thought, how about clubs? So we went to a club. I don't remember the name of it. It might have been Platinum or something to that degree. $300 to get into that club. That's excluding drinks. That's not included. $300 just to go in there. Unbelievable. Needless to say, we all didn't have $300 a person to pay to get into this shit-ass club on the side of the fucking road. So we didn't go to that club. I don't know why it was $300. Maybe Jay-Z, Post Malone, Lil Wayne, and Johnny Cash was revived and they were all playing that night. That might justify $300 to go in there. But we didn't do it, so that was another bust. And then we decided, how about a strip club? Miami's famous for their strip clubs, and we thought maybe King of Diamonds would be fun. But this time we wisened up before paying for the extremely expensive ride to the King of Diamonds or anywhere in Miami. We decided to look up how much it is at King of Diamonds. Way too expensive. That, in a nutshell, way too expensive. Strippers there probably wouldn't even look at you if you were throwing dollars at them. You'd have to be showering hundreds to even get them to look in your direction. So we didn't go to King of Diamonds or any other strip club either. That was day 2. Day 3, we gave up. Day 3, we took a day to just recoup. We hung out in the hotel. We walked around Miami just at like little mom and pop stores, I enjoyed that. That was kind of fun. We saw a little bit of the city. We went to some stores, couldn't afford anything there because you can't afford anything in Miami. That's the main lesson to take away from the experience. But we went to some little diners and stuff and tried a bunch of different foods that I'd never heard of before, which was kind of nice. But that was day 3. Spring break's really kicking in nice. Day 4, we tried one more time. We went to different bars. The prices were a little bit better than at the Frankie show, the Frankie Way, whatever that bar is. The prices were a little bit better. So we all chipped in and bought a pitcher, which was just kind of the most pathetic drinking experience I've ever had because we were all just defeated. Like, you know what, guys? How much money do we have left? 15 quarters? All right, let's just see if we can haggle a pitcher of beer off of this bar here. And miraculously, we did get a pitcher, and we all just kind of drank away the spring break because it was bad. I would have had more fun spending spring break in a sensory deprivation tank than in Miami. It was an absolutely miserable experience. The worst spring break I've ever had, and definitely the worst spring break I think a college kid could have. We lost pretty much all of the money we brought with us and had nothing to show for it. But it was kind of a good-looking city. It was kind of pretty, and walking around trying a bunch of different foods was kind of fun. I would never recommend anyone ever go to Miami because you just can't afford to. Unless you're taking out a mortgage, taking out some loans or something to be able to afford anything at all there, you're just not going to be able to have any fun. There's also a huge drug problem there. From what I could tell, I don't really keep up with the Miami news or anything. But walking the beach and shit, there are so many people asking you if you want to buy drugs, which was really uncomfortable. But overall, hated Miami. I would never recommend you spend spring break in Miami. Anywhere else. Literally spring break anywhere else. Go to fucking Antarctica, you'll have more fun. I don't really care where you go, but you will not have fun in Miami. That's the gist of it. That's
Welcome
it.
to another riveting story time from my compendium of social ineptitude. Today's story takes place during high school when I thought breakdancing was the dopest shit. I used to think breakdancers were society's alpha males that couldn't walk 5 steps in public without falling penis first into a consenting vagina. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to learn to be a b-boy, an ultimate breakdancing Chad, to impress girls. Keep in mind, this was about a decade ago, so there was movies coming out that focused on breakdancing and how cool it was. The one that had the biggest impact on me was called You Got Served. That movie was like my Eye of the Tiger. I would throw that shit on religiously to get myself pumped up and motivated, start pumping testosterone into my dick, like, yeah, alright, I'll start serving people soon, I can do this. So I'd watch a shitload of shitty Expert Village tutorials on breakdancing till I got to a point where I was like, I'm confident, I can do this in front of people now and it'll be really cool. Spoiler alert, I was never actually good at it and it was never cool, but that didn't stop me. Every single school dance function from probably freshman year of high school to senior year of high school, I would be that fucking sociopath on the dance floor during the first song, busting it wide open. You know, like at all the dances like homecoming and shit, the first song nobody's on the dance floor because it's not cool? Well, I'd fucking cherish that moment. I would charge that dance floor like a football team storming the stadium field. I was all about that first song life. And this was during the time where the jerk was popular. Well, not really. It was kind of on its way out anyway. But I was still trying to hold on to that glory of the jerk. So I had this little routine that I would do at every dance function, every single fucking one of them. And unfortunately, I still remember kind of the beginning of it. So I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of what it looked like. Breakdancing. I know, ladies, just leave your sodden panties in the dirty clothes and wash them later. What you just saw right there, what you just bore witness to, was a body wave into a 6-step combination, a little groundwork that I tossed in there for flair, then the jerk tacked on at the end. a combination move only fit for the most elite b-boy gods out there. Now, at the time, this was 10 years ago, I was far more limber, so I could go from the kneeling position to the standing position without fucking blowing up my meniscus. Now is a different story. I can't exactly do it as well as I did back then, but in a nutshell, that's kind of what it looked like back then too, honestly. And let me tell you, it wasn't cool. I don't think that routine I came up with will ever be cool. If I'm wrong, please, some b-boys out there, make it better and send it to me. I'd love to see how that could possibly be improved, because in my eyes, that's as good as breakdancing gets. And they didn't appreciate it. So my high school just didn't really have a taste for the finer breakdancing things, because no girls ever thought that was cool, surprisingly. And let's fast forward. So I do that at all the dances. It never really got me anywhere or anything, and I never changed the routine. That was about the extent of it. That was my breakdancing prowess on full display. That was me sailing at full mast, full erection, red alert, and nobody gave a shit. It wasn't cool to them, and it clearly just objectively is not a very good routine. But let's fast forward to senior year. I'm still doing that routine, and I finally worked up the courage to ask a girl for her number, and she humored me by actually giving it to me. She was clearly not interested, but that didn't stop good old b-boy Charlie from trying. So in order to try and get her genuinely interested in at least like kissing me on the cheek or asking me to tie her shoes or something romantic like that, I would send her videos of me doing routines like that. But I didn't have any friends to videotape that, because no one was that close to me. In fact, I don't think any of my friends would do that now, because it's just embarrassing. So what I would do is I would have my dad take videos of me doing breakdancing like you just saw, except by senior year I was a little bit better. So I was able to do like kind of head spins. I couldn't do like a head spin without supporting myself with my hands. So I could kind of just like walk my head around very slowly. And I would have my dad videotape that. It'd be like a 2-minute video of me just walking my head around slowly like that on the floor. And I would send her that. And she was such a fucking sweetheart. She would send me things like, "That's so cool," or "Rad." Just, man, it was pathetic. Genuinely pathetic. So I'd continue to do this. And then she stopped replying. That's how that story ends. So, in a nutshell, I still think, power moves and breakdancing are cool as shit. I can't do them. My body just wasn't made for that type of activity. But I respect the men who can, and I still think that's cool. But the lesson here is, if you're not good at breakdancing, don't try. Don't use it to impress people. Definitely don't do it at parties or at bars or at school dance functions or anything. Just keep it to yourself. And definitely don't have your father videotape them, because that's equally as embarrassing. And trust me, I wasn't shy about telling her who videotaped that. I said, "Look at what my dad just filmed me doing," like it was some type of candid photo shoot or shot. So, the lesson here, just, don't be a fucking idiot, I guess. There's really no lesson here. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are trying to breakdance to impress girls in 2018. Now it's all about your Fortnite wins. But even if there is still that splinter cell of dudes out there that are blood, sweat, and tears pouring cum into the breakdance art, make sure you're really good at it before you show anyone that shit. Trust me. It'll save you a lot of embarrassment. See ya.